All right, yeah. So the thing is recording now, and so we can continue with our meeting. So yes, as I was saying, today is a continuation of our SOP. I mean, writing seminar series, or let me say the writing seminar. Today is actually the second, and today I'll be taking you through some experiences, some of the things that worked for me, and then how I managed to go about them. And then hopefully we will talk about some other information to help you in your application. So without wasting much time, let me just get into it. So you realize that I'm sure you all can see my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yeah, we can see.
All right, thank you. So you realize that last time when we met last week, when I brought the guys from the sciences, they shared their experiences and then they shared what worked for them and some of the things that you should know when writing your SOP. And during the session, we stated clearly that even though the SOP, the personal statement, and the academic statement may have certain rubrics that you need to follow when writing, it is also advisable, it is also wise that you check the program's website and then look at what they are actually asking. If they have prompts that they want you to follow, we advise that you tailor your writing samples or your statements to those prompts, and then ensure that whatever they are asking you to do is exactly what you've done. And that rather wins than trying to do what you think is right. And so we said that, and then we said a couple of things. But today I'm taking you through the actual rubrics for each and every one of them. So when we say SOP has certain elements that should go into it. When we say personal statement, there are certain elements that should go into it. When we say academic statements too, there are certain elements that need to be there. So each one has its own way of approaching it. And then that is what we are going to discuss today. I'm going to state it again that even though we are going to discuss all these things, it is still advisable that you read the program's website because some of the programs may call may use the names interchangeably. So you may want to check their website. Sometimes you may see that they've written write a personal statement, but the prompt that they've given you is actually talking about the statement of purpose. It doesn't mean that you should forego the prompt that they've given you and then write a personal statement. You are advised to strictly go by what they've told you. In cases where there are no prompts and then the school doesn't require that you state anything, you write the statement tailored to any prompt or whatever requirement, it is advisable that you reach out to the program's coordinator or even during their virtual sessions. Those are the relevant questions that you are sometimes advised to ask. That what are some of the things you look out for in your writing samples or in the SOP or in the academic statement or whatever. So all those documents, they will let you know their standards and then how they want you to go about it. If all these things you've done them and then still you don't get any specific requirement or specific rubrics that they want you to write your statements to meet, or if they don't have any requirements that they want you to tailor your academic, writing samples to meet, it is advisable that you follow these steps that we are going to share today. So today I'm taking you through the SOP and we'll be looking at it from the various paragraphs and then some of the things you are supposed to note. So over here, I've written that before we begin, you should note this that I've already said that you already know what belongs in an SOP, personal statement, academic statement, and how they differ. Keep in mind, keep that in mind, and remember, programs use the labels inconsistently. A school might call it a personal statement, a statement of purpose, but give prompts that include personal history element and for and ask for an academic statement. That's essentially an SOP. So always write to the prompt. Treat rubrics as strong default, not fixed laws. So that is exactly what I said in the beginning. At the end of this, I will share with you some samples that we have, and then I'm sure it will also help. So let's begin with the famous of them all, the statement of purpose, the SOP. So the statement of purpose, I call it your academic your academic and professional case. So what is it? So the academic and professional case, or the SOP, is a forward-looking narrative of your academic preparation, professional experience, research interest, career goals, and program fit. So what this one means is that you are actually going to write a narrative. Okay, it is not about anyone, it's just about yourself, but you are going to write something that talks about your academic preparation, how your undergraduate degree or the program that you read has prepared you, or your professional experiences have prepared you, your research interests, to pursue a certain program, and then how those programs, or that program, is a best fit to help you in achieving your career goals. So I want you to view it from that angle. So how has your academic profile or your academic background prepared you, or your professional experiences or research interests prepared you for that program? And then how does that program to prepare you, or what will you gain from that program to help you pursue your career goals? So that is the statement of purpose. That is how you should view it. So when you are writing, you should have this in mind. So basically, there are three structures of the statement of purpose. I call it three structures. The first one is the introduction, that talks a little about your motivation to the program. Then you come to the middle, or let me say the head, the body, and then the tail. So the head would talk about your motivation to the program. The body would talk about, if it's the academic preparations that you want to stress, you talk about the academic preparations. If it's your professional experiences you want to stress, you talk about the professional experiences. If it's research interest too, you talk about them. And then you use the body, or you may also want to add them all. You may want to bring the academic, the professional, and then the research interest all together, and then try to, write it in a certain way that is chronological, and then, makes sense, so that it tells your story, and then sells you out there, and then let you be on the scale of what they are actually looking for, so that they get why you want to pursue their program. And then after you've stated why you want to read their program, and then why the program is a fit for you, you should link that program to your personal goals, or what you want to achieve in the future. So this is the structure that I recommend that people use. So the first one, I always advise people to use an introduction that catches the attention of the reader. Everybody will say this, because when you are writing some of these statements, like Eugene said the other time, some of these people actually get like a lot of applications, like thousands of applications coming in. Some schools that are very famous and popular receive tons of applications for specific programs. So when they are reviewing this, and mind you, these people do not have all the time, because they have to speed up the process, and then relay their admission decisions to students, so that students will begin to make preparations, and then follow up, or begin their study abroad journey. So it is important that you catch the attention of the reader, you sustain the attention of the reader throughout your essay, so that in the end your essay will stand out, and then they would have read every single thing that you wrote. Because some of them actually do not read every single thing that you write. They read the first, and then when they get the impression that you are trying to make, they read a couple of the experiences, whether it links with what you are trying to say, and then they come to see how the program will help you achieve those goals. And then if they feel that they will all score, so when they score and then they put them together, and then you meet the threshold, then that means you get into the program. But if you do not meet the requirements, or if you don't get that, grade that they want you to get, or the points that you want you to get, then eventually you don't get accepted into the program. So you want to begin with a hook, and then with the hook, I normally advise people to use like real life experiences. Do not we understand that most of you, or let me say most of us, will be using AI labels or AI tools to write these statements. But it is important that you try and add your voice to it. These days, if I tell you, some of us, we've used the AI to an extent. So when we see that, when you write something, I'm able to detect that, oh, even me, I'm able to detect that this is an AI generated something. How much more these people who have been working in with the best of AI tools, and then even use these AI detectors and all that. So it is important that you add your voice at the beginning, be authentic, be original at the beginning. Use something. So I advise people to state a problem. So with me, what helped me in my SOP was my application to SIUE. I stated a problem in the program that I wanted to read. I stated a problem. That was the first thing that you see. So I stated the problem, and then I first asked the question, and then I stated the problem there. And then I backed the problem up with statistics that show that this problem is not only in Ghana, it's not only in Africa, but it's something that persists even in all institutions, especially in American institutions. And then when you say something like that, you see, you begin to like, what is this person trying to say? What is this person trying to talk about? So this person begins to, read, okay, let me listen to what they have to say about. So talk about something, maybe a challenge that you faced, or something that is a problem. Okay. Some people too may want to use some research that they've read, and then they may use the point there. So they just do the inter citation, and then they put it there, and then they carry on from there. So with this one, the person was talking about an instance. So over here it reads, when a first generation freshman walked into my advising office in week 2, ready for withdrawal. So over here, the person has stated a problem. So this freshman was going to, was actually on the verge of withdrawing from school. So why would a freshman want to, withdraw? That is something that doesn't happen always. So why would they want to withdraw? So this person will want to read further. So okay, let me continue to the next line. You read the next line. Okay, let me continue to the next line. Before you realize, they would have read every single thing that you stated. So it is important that you begin with a hook. And then I've said that the hook, there are ways of hooking your SOP or your introduction. You can use a research that somebody did. Make sure the research is valid. Make sure you've read the paper, and then you know the inside outs of the research. Secondly, you may want to use a problem that you have seen, a problem that exists in the field you want to, your field of interest, or the field you are applying to. You may want to state the problem and then talk about the problem. It is something that also works. Again, you may want to use your own personal experience, something that you saw somewhere, like what this person did. The person just wrote something that happened, and then this is something that I would want to read further to know what happened. And then in the end, you realize that okay, the person has actually arrested your interest, and then that is what you want to do in your introduction. Now we come to the next one. So I stated that I'm not saying that that is how all SOPs should be approached. Please, I'm just saying that that is how I recommend people to do it. So you may want to use it. It may work for you. What you should understand is that in this journey, what may work for me may not work for you, and what may work for you may not work for me. But you should know yourself, and then know what works for you, and then try to use it the right way. That is exactly what I'm trying to say. So I advise that you use this structure, the introduction, you come to your experiences. It may be academic, it may be professional, it may be research. You use those experiences to back what you already said. So now let's come to the academic, background. So if you are going to use a academic background to back your introduction, how do you do that? So initially, I said that you can use a problem, a question, or something that you've actually seen, an experience that you've encountered in your undergraduate studies or in your professional environment or in your professional life. So if you are using academic background, this is how you can also approach it. So you state a problem, okay, and then you know that this problem exists, okay? So what have you done about the problem, okay? So that is what you want to say. You state a problem. One, just know that that is the problem you want to solve. Don't go and state a problem. Let's say you are applying to a computer science problem. You are talking about glitches in, let me say, institutional software programs. And then you've stated the problem, all right, but your interest is in something else. No, it doesn't correlate, it doesn't match. Your interest should be in exactly what you are talking about. So if you are talking about glitches in software, you should you should talk about what has prepared you to want to tackle that problem. So if you stated that there are glitches in some software that people use every day, and then because of that, it ends up deleting their personal data or sending them automatically to people or some companies, which eventually ends up in the hands of, fraudsters, and then they use them to, come back to these people to get their monies and all that. It is a very nice something that you are talking about. So you should talk about what has prepared you. So now let's approach it from that direction. So we are talking about glitches in software as a problem. So in the beginning, or in the introductory paragraph, you begin with a statement, or let me say a problem. You begin with that problem that we've just talked about. Then you talk about why this problem has motivated you to want to read this program. Okay, so maybe the motivation is you have a personal experience. You may also know somebody who had a personal experience. You may also have a family relative, or maybe, let me say, even your dad. So let's say this problem is something that persists in Africa. And so your dad also um, had a similar experience in your second year when you were supposed to pay your fees. Instead of him to send the money to the bank, he sent it directly to your phone. And then when he was doing that, he received an information, or let me say a code, a token, and then through that token, he ended up losing all the money on his phone. Like, that is the story you want to make up, okay? So if you are trying to link this story, actually fits the problem that you stated. So when you saw that, and then that thing happened to your dad, eventually it affected you because you were unable to receive that money to pay your fees, which may be delayed in your registration process to take some relevant courses you were supposed to take. One, that is a very good motivation that you've stated. So also in the introduction, you've stated a problem, you've added your motivation to it. Okay, so now let's begin to, okay, you have a motivation. So why do you want to? So this is the reason why you want to pursue this program, and then you end it there. Like, you don't have to be so lengthy in the in the introduction. Something very brief, like 200 words, some 200, some 150 words is okay. You are done. Now down you come to, the body, to explain everything properly. So now let's come to the academic background. So you've stated your problem, you've stated your motivation, a perfect introduction. You've arrested the interest of the reader. Now let's continue. So maybe you want to talk about your academic experience, or your academic background. So maybe at the University of Ghana, you read a program, yeah, you read a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, or in IT, and then you did an undergraduate research on mobile money, fraudulent activities, and then how they affect people. And then you realize that in the findings, you realize that almost all those who did, almost, let me say, you want to put figures there. So almost 90% of commercial vendors, or let me say hawkers, relied on mobile money for their day-to-day transactions. And so you from the data that you collected, you realize that okay, so if you took the data, your sampling size, or let me say your sampling size was just 100 people. If you are saying 90%, that means 90 people out of the 100. One trick is that when you are using statistics, you should use a number that will give you a whole number. A percentage that will give you a whole number. What I mean is that you cannot say that you got 5.1 people. Okay, if you strike the percentage, you won't get a whole number. And then you are talking about human beings. And then in human beings too, we do not have fractions. Okay, we have whole numbers. So you want to, that is when they realize that okay, this is not an authentic something, because you can't say 51.52% of the people, that is 100 people. 51.52 will actually give you 51.52 people. 51.52 people do not exist. You cannot have 51.52 people. Rather, if you are talking about something different, then they will know that okay, you are talking about something different. But if you are talking about numbers, you should also approach it wisely and then know how to state them. So maybe in the research, you realize that 90% of your sampling size of 100, okay, were people who relied on mobile money services for their day-to-day, um, trading, or their day-to-day resource or something. Yes, something like that. And then from there, you also realize that most of the people who relied on these, mobile money um, information, or let me say mobile money for their day-to-day resources, actually had little time to go through, or let me say evaluate the monies that they got at the end of the day. And then they also did not have time to check people who were sending monies to them. So because of this, there was a pattern, okay, a pattern or a relationship between unknown people sending money to these people, these hawkers. And because of that, students, or let me say some people who had studied this pattern, realized that these people actually do not know the number of people who send them money, or they don't even check the amount of money that they are sent. And so because of that, maybe they end up not sending the actual numbers they are supposed to send, or the actual amount they are supposed to send. Or in the end, or let's say at the end of the day, they come back to reverse the transaction that they've done. Like this is a very nice something that you've done. Okay. This is a very nice research that you've done. You just have to write it in a very nice way. This is something that ChatGPT can do for you. You just write your whole paragraph, okay? Explain whatever that you did, and then give it to the tool, and then ChatGPT will write it for you. Once it has done that, you sit down, you do the calculations yourself, and then find out whether it is actually making sense, because sometimes chat can make mistakes. So you want to sit down and then make all those calculations and realize that, and then make sure that everything is in order. There are no, wrong figures in there. Now, after that, you've talked about your academic background. That is a research that you did, and then that's actually part of the academic background. So over here, that was your research that you did. You realized there was a problem, and then the problem still links with your overall problem that you want to solve. That as in you want to tackle, I mean, um, fraudulent activities in mobile money services. You have done something that is in relation to it. You leave that paragraph alone. You come to the next paragraph. So let's say down you come to your professional experience. So let's say in the next paragraph, you are going to talk about something that you did the world, the professional field, or the professional, or maybe in the industry. So maybe after your undergraduate degree, you had the opportunity to work with um, an IT firm for 1 year, or maybe you even did an internship. This is the time for you to explain the relevant information within the internship that's linked to the same problem that you've mentioned. One thing that I realize all the time is that people try to just rewrite everything that is on their resume or their CV. No, you don't do that. All the things on your resume, on your CV, are things that you've done. And then I'm sure we've discussed the differences between the resume and then the CV. So if you are writing your SOP, you do not necessarily have to repeat every single thing that you've done on your resume. You don't have to like just bring them back on the on the SOP. No, that's not how it's done. You pick the relevant ones, okay? Even the relevant ones, you pick the most relevant ones and then connect them with the problem that you are hoping to tackle. That is what makes your SOP a genuine SOP and then a different SOP from all the generic ones. So out of four companies that you worked with, maybe one of the companies you were just um there, you were doing web development. Over here you were doing something else. So in the last one, maybe you even didn't get the opportunity to work full time, but you got the opportunity to learn how these transactions are monitored and then how to trace some, monies that are not, transactions that were not sent and all that. This is a very nice experience that links with your problem. You are talking about tackling fraudulent activities. So you just come back, write about the experience. Don't make assumptions, okay? Over here, you want to state things in simple languages that these people can understand. One thing that I've noticed so far trying to review people's SOP is that most of us, we write and then we hope the people who are on the receiving end will understand. No, it doesn't work like that. Understand this: when they are reviewing your SOP. You will not be there to explain things to them. For me, when I'm doing the review, I call you, you come on the call. So I ask you why you are saying this, you explain, and then I try to, rephrase it. This is not something that will happen on the day of review. You will not be there to explain things to them. So avoid using complex, or let me say, compound words. Use simple everyday words to explain things clearly enough for them to understand. Do not try to, I don't know how to put it, but some people feel like if they don't find, in quotes, big English in their SOP, it means the SOP is not perfect. No, the SOP is just adding your voice to your application. So let them know what you did. Let them understand what you did. It is more important than writing, vocabularies that they will not understand and then will rather put them in, some kind of situation where they would want to put your application aside. You don't want that. So kindly do that. Take your time, write every single thing in everyday English. If you are using Chat GPT to write, write your paragraph by paragraph, okay? Write your paragraphs and then input the data um into the chat box and then give the prompt. That is the point where you should note. So over here I added the tone and everything. So in the end I added a tone that this is a focused, forward looking, evidence based. So these are the things that you want to add to the prompting. So you draft the paragraph, you give it to Chat GPT, and then you use this. So use the tone, and then you put all these in brackets. Avoid, then you put all these things to in bracket, and then you give it to it, and then you tell it to humanize it as possible. When you get it, that's not the final thing. You just sit down and then try to reword, change a few things, read over the whole thing paragraph by paragraph, and then make sure every single thing that you are writing makes sense. Okay, so that is with your, the academic background. If you are using your professional background too, like I was saying, so let's say you did an internship. So over here, during maybe last summer, or let me say, during last summer, I got the opportunity to work as maybe whatever role that you played, you just put it there. In charge of, you state every single thing that you did. So what you did, maybe full stop. Then you continue. I got the opportunity to go through maybe hundreds of transactions. Okay, so let's say MTN, you work with MTN, and then you are the mobile money, department, and so you were in charge of monitoring transactions and all that. So you were able to identify transactions that pass through the service. Out of maybe 1,000 of those transactions, 100 of those transactions came from, vendors, or went to people with who had registered it in, I mean, enterprise names, or let me say commercial names. So all these people, you realize that okay, in a day they receive like this amount of um this number of transactions, and then those transactions that they receive, out of that number of transactions that they receive, they make complaints or they report that out of that number, so let's say out of the 100 transactions that you saw, 50 of them were going to people with, I mean, enterprise names. So let me say commercial um, mobile money users or customized mobile money users. So anytime that you send you check the information over there, you realize that they have like 12% report rate, meaning out of every 10%, there's a possibility that they make one complaint that the transaction that came was actually fraudulent, or the those who sent the money actually ended up reversing the money. So it is something that you saw, and then during that time you worked under this person, you put the person's name there, and then the role that the person played, and then that person helped you or gave you the expertise in reversing all those transactions back to these vendors. So you saw that actually that problem really existed even at your time with MTN. You saw that this was what they were doing, and so it is still relevant, and then it deepened your experience in that field. You are done with your professional experience, something that you did in the professional field. Now, you may choose not to add a research, I mean, experience or interest. Now you come to the next paragraph talking about why the program is a best fit for you. Now, when you are doing this, there are a lot of ways to do this. I advise people with a program fit, there are a lot of things that you need to check. So there are laboratories that you may want to state. There are professors you want to work with. There are certain courses within the program you are excited to take. And there are also some services on campus that will help you build all the experiences you need to build. And then understand that while you are mentioning these courses, these labs, these professors, these services on campus, make sure they will equip you with relevant information or relevant experiences that will help you tackle your problem. So your problem is like everything is everything you are talking about. You don't want to leave it in the middle. You don't want to like get into the middle and then start talking about something else. No, you want to continue relating every single thing to the problem that you found in your introductory paragraph. And then make sure whatever experience you are gathering may directly or indirectly affect the question or the problem or whatever you've identified and want to solve. So over here, this person was talking about student success lab. Okay, some people may want to talk about a course. Some people may want to talk about a course. Now, I'll speak to all those ones separately. So, if you are talking about a course, there are, let me quickly share this. There are some schools, not some schools, all schools share the courses that you are supposed to take in the program. And then you get the opportunity to read the course description. So it is important that you read the course description. Every course talks about what they expect their students to get from the program. So let me quickly share that. Let me use okay, a school here. Let me just use all right, let me quickly share this. Okay, I'm sure you all can see what I'm sharing.
No.
Oh, okay, I think it's in now. All right, so let's say you are applying to Mississippi State University, and let me come to the program here. Okay, so let me see. Okay, this is one of the things that you should check. Okay, some of the schools will tell you that this program, for instance, is non-thesis based. Okay, so that means you are not going to do a thesis at the end of the program, and I'm sure you understand thesis, like research, um, a research that you do, and then you write everything down in chapters from 1 to 5, and then at the end of the day you submit that as your final, as a part of your assessment to be able to complete your study. So this one is saying it is not thesis based. So you are not going to do research. Most of the programs are course based or professional programs. This is a thesis based program. So if you are approaching a thesis based program, I advise people to approach it with a thesis based or like the research, direction. So this is a thesis based program. So it is important that all thesis based programs require that you get supervisors. Okay, it may not be all, but most of the thesis based programs may require that you get a supervisor. So it is important that you identify somebody that you want to work with, and their research should match or should be in alignment with what you want to do. So like we were talking about computing. Let me see if there are some computing programs here. Computer science. All right, this is Doctor of Philosophy. PhD, that means it's thesis based. So let me just click on this and then see what we can get. Good, 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 good. So let's say we're talking about software, right? Mobile money, that kind of software thing. Good. So this is the curriculum. You come to what you are actually going to read. Oh, okay, share this. All right, so this is it. Okay, this is a bachelor's program. But you see, there are courses here that you are supposed to take, right? So they've stated all the courses here. So this one, for instance, okay, let me say data structure and algorithm. This is data structure and algorithm. So this one doesn't give you the opportunity to read the the course description. I want us to get one that allows you to read the course description so that we can, learn something from that. I'm still trying to get some of the programs. Okay. Good, good, good. There is a course here. Let me share this one. Okay, so data science, right? All right. So this is data science, right? Good, good. Okay, so a program like this over here, you may want to reach out to these people, these coordinators, and then ask them for a list of the faculty so that you can, review and then find out whether you get somebody whose research interests align with yours. If still this is also not giving us. Let me quickly look up a different school. I think for Iowa they put them there. So let me quickly bring it up so that you check. I don't have programs in computing. Okay, computer science. Good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good. So let's say we want to pursue this one. Good. Requirement. Good. Aha. This was what I was talking about. So when you come to the courses have uh, an opportunity. Okay, they have some links that will take you to the course description. So let's look at this one, CS 4330, theory of computation. So when you click on this one, it will load the course description. So this is everything about the course. Okay, so you want to read all these information here. So they are saying there is a relationship, right? Relationship between formal languages and meta or matter. I don't know, but I'm not into computer science, so I don't know how it's called. But that's something that maybe you are interested in. Okay, so let's say when you are able to study the patterns between the languages and this auto mata something, you'll be able to analyze and then come up with some information that may lead in tracking down transactions that fail or transactions that come from, fraudulent accounts or people that try to fraud people for their monies. So that is something that this is something that you are going to gain from the program. And then you won't get this from any other program anywhere unless this particular program, because it is in this program that you will take this course. And then it's in this course that you'll be equipped with this. Getting this skill or this knowledge. So you want to read this information, and then let's go back to our presentation. So you read this information here, and then you link it with the program's requirement, and then you link it again with the problem you want to solve. That is very important. You don't want to leave that out. Always link it to the problem. So a perfect um, um, paragraph that talks about the program fit may sound like this. So I want to read mine, a portion of mine, so that we all see how it's. That is something that I wrote some years back. Let me quickly bring it up. All right, so I'm not going to show that one. I'm just going to read it. So over here, what I wrote was this. I was applying to the higher education program, and then my I used the same structure. I talked about a problem in my first paragraph, and then in my second paragraph, I talked about my academic background, and then some of the courses that I took or the research that I did, which prepared me or gave me some kind of, knowledge or understanding of the program. And again, in my third paragraph, I talked about my professional experiences. So I talked about what I did that relates with the problem, the program, and then how those experiences that I gained can help me tackle the problem that is in paragraph one. And then when I was ending, the chapter, or let me say the paragraph on my professional experiences, what I said was, so to make a greater and even more meaningful impact. Okay, to make a greater and even more meaningful impact based on these transferable experiences, I endeavor I endeavor to professionally seek training in student affairs and higher education. That was how I ended the paragraph. Now I came to the paragraph that talks about the program, why the program is a best fit for me. This was how I started it. So, University of XYZ's higher education master's program is an ideal environment for me to hone these strategies and practical skills in student affairs. The program combines coursework with practical experiences, ensuring theory to practice, a perfect environment for me to study this program. I am particularly excited about taking the course. Then I brought the name of the course, and then the title of the course, and then the course, code. Then I said that this course will help me understand how students' background experiences, their challenges shape their academic and professional development. By learning to conduct environmental assessment, I will be able to evaluate the institutional, social, and cultural context within which um, these factors affect student learning and success. I will also gain insight into historic and current issues which students face, which will allow me in the end to address their needs in a way that is more realistic and empathetic. Most importantly, I will develop the ability to design and recommend strategies that foster inclusive, supportive, and growth oriented environment. That is my problem, okay? That is the problem that I found, or let me say the problem that I talked about in my opening paragraph in this particular SOP. So you see, I have linked it back to the problem. I've talked about why the program is a best fit for me, some of the things that I look forward to gaining from the program. So you want to let them know that you've done your homework well, and then you know everything about the program. So if there is a specific laboratory, you may want to add it that okay. So I learned that the program, or let me say, the university has access, or students within this program have access to laboratories X, Y, Z, and then ABC. With the expertise of Professor this, I'll be able to learn how this and that help in doing this. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Yes. So when you do all these things, they will realize that, oh, okay, so you actually know what you are getting yourself into. And then you are not just trying to put things together to get you into the program. Now, after you are done stating why the program is a best fit for you, you add your career goals, your career aspirations, or your professional goals or aspirations to it. So you've gained all these experiences from the program. You hope to address this issue. Now we've admitted you into the program. Once you are done, what are you going to use the degree for? So maybe after the program, you still on a computer science something. So after the program, I hope to use the expertise that I've gained, the experiences that I've gathered, and then the skills that I've learned to set up a private firm in charge of something, something, something. Do you get what I'm trying to say? You need to write something. You see, every program will give you professional outcomes or professional goals or career patterns or paths that you can explore after the program. You want to link all your goals to one of these career trajectories. So you want to talk about something that is already in the program. People understand that, okay, so a degree in this can be used for that. So you want to talk about one of them. If you want to use your degree or your master's to pursue a PhD, it is also another dream that you may want to talk about. So after your master's, you want to become a professor, and then the master's alone cannot get you into that professorship. Therefore, you want to pursue a doctorate tackling this issue in a more detailed environment or in advance. It is a perfect something. And then mind you, dreams change, and then aspirations also change. So you may say this, but in the end you may do something else. But what we are saying is that in all these writings or in all these statements that you are trying to put up, they should be in alignment. Every paragraph should correlate with the other. So if you are talking about this in A, it should relate with the other in B. You don't want to talk about this and then come and talk about something else in that. So that is one of the things that you should know. Now, you come to your conclusion. This is something that people have argued about. So over here, this person wrote, this person was talking about something else. So what she wrote was, I've moved from building dashboards to asking better questions. Your program is where I learn to design dot 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 and test dot 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 solutions that first generation students can feel on day one. Like this is a very simple something. Some people there have been arguments. People are saying that you can end your SOP by thanking the admissions committee for considering your application. People also say that you can add that they give you financial support. I don't see anything wrong with those things, but personally, I wouldn't advise that you put them there. What I would advise that you do is that when you are asking your recommenders to write recommendations, you let your recommenders put those information within the recommendation for you. It is a very nice something that you can do. We'll talk about recommendations too, maybe some other time. Do not use the generic ones. I think we've said that already. So that is for your SOP. And so if you have any questions on the SOP, you can bring them up as we continue to dive into the personal statement and then finally end with the academic statement. If there are no questions on the SOP, then I would move on to the, I mean, academic, the personal statement. Okay, so I don't see any questions so far. So let me just move to the personal statement. All right, so the personal statement, what is it about? So the personal statement simply answers the question who you are and why it matters. Who you are. So who are you? Maybe I'm a first generation student. So what should we do with the first generation student? Why the first generation student matters? In what context? What exactly do you want to write about? So the personal statement, as the name implies, is talking about your personal history or your history as a person, the ups and downs, the challenges that you faced, the things that you had to learn the hard way, some of the things that you faced, what you learned from them, and how all those things have prepared you for academics. That is simply the personal statement. So you see, SOP is kind of more professional related. This one is more of personal stuff. So this is where you get to write, you put your soul or your heart on paper. You talk about every single thing that you face, the challenges and everything. So what it is. So your lived context, your identity, your challenges, your values, and how they shape the way you learn and contribute, linked back to your academic path. So, like I said, the problems that you faced growing up, um, the challenges, or even you can talk about some of the good things that you face. It shouldn't always be challenges. You may talk about some very nice opportunities that you enjoyed and then what you learned from all those things and then how they have prepared you for academics or graduate studies. That is basically it. So when you're writing a personal statement, you need to have this narrative in mind that you are talking about your life and then how your life has prepared you for academic, graduate studies or academic path. So let's get into it. So the structure is like this. So you start with an opening narrative. Example, I learned through I learned to troubleshoot network. Oh, please, I'm coming. Just a moment. This thing again. The recording has stopped, so I want to set it up again so that we begin. Let me quickly do that. Oh, 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 oh. All right. I think we are up and doing. Sorry about that. Guys, let's continue. So you begin the personal statement with an opening narrative, right? You want to talk about, something. And then in all these write-ups, one thing that you should keep in mind is in the first paragraph, you want to catch the attention of the reader and then sustain it throughout your draft. So it is important that even though you are talking about your life and then the challenges that you've been through, you shouldn't let them sound generic, the ones that everybody is using. Right now, if you should take like 100 SOPs, or let me say 100 personal statements right now, and then you should review them, bet me you will see about 90% of these people using growing up as somebody from Ghana, as a student from Ghana, all those things, these people have seen it over and over and over again. I'm not saying that it's wrong to start your statement using that angle. No, I'm not, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying all those things have been overused. Everybody has used, like almost everyone has been using it. So you want to be specific, talk about something genuine. So in all these cases, you still want to arrest the attention of your reader. It's very important. See what this person said. So this person said, I learned to troubleshoot network outages before I learned to say excuse me in French. This is a very nice something. Like, what you ask yourself, what is this person trying to talk about? Do you get it? So then he begins running Wi-Fi for our compound during Ghana's rolling blackout taught me that access changes what students attempt. So this is something that you want to start with. Like, let your story be different from. So if the thing is, I don't even know how to explain it. Write something to catch their attention. After that, come to the story that you want to write. That is all. Don't begin with growing up as somebody who has no as a first generation all those things have been overused. All those things have been overused. So you want to state, this is a very nice way to begin your, like, this is some, you may ask, what is this person trying to talk about? Let me read further. Then that is it. So this is something that you can also use. Then after that, you talk about your identity and your background. So this is where you start in selling yourself out, talking about your story. So this person is saying, as the eldest of five, this reminds me of something. So most of these things, when you see them, you realize that these people are coming from Africa. Anytime you see these things, you realize that these people are coming from Africa. Well, it's not bad, but you just have to write your story in a very nice way, catch their attention, and then put yourself out there. So this person is saying that he or she is the eldest of the five children in the polyglot home. Like, the translation to is there. You get it? So all these things are things that, like, I don't even know how to explain. Like, they are just simple, guys. They are very simple. Trust me. If you understand it from this direction, you will know that it is very simple. So this is how you approach the personal statement. You talk about your opening narrative, or let me say your hook in this case, and then you talk about a very small experience. So you are going to talk about every single thing about yourself, but begin with something, a very unique something about all the experiences that can relate to every single experience that you are going to mention. And then after that, you come back and then you start talking about your identity and your background. So you start from day one or wherever you want to begin from. So this is a chronological something. You are talking about your life story. So you don't want to talk about when you got into the university before you in your next paragraph you talk about when you were born. No, it doesn't really correlate. You want to begin using a chronological part. Talk about this from this to that, from this to that. So after your identity and then your background, what are the things that stood out to you, the turning point? So maybe after something happened in your house, or maybe after you experienced something, you learned something different, right? Your life changed. How did your life change? What really happened? And then how did it change you? So this person is using that, is writing here that over here, he says, after my first peer died by suicide, I trained as a gatekeeper and built a referral map that resident assistants could navigate in under 30 seconds. So this is something that somebody too is writing. Like the person is just talking about what happened. So you see, it is kind of, it should be a turning point, like a pivotal statement. This thing happened and then it led to that. And so because of that, you build on that one, you write your motivation, and then you link it to the program that you want to apply to, or the field, and then your conclusion. This is the simplest of them all. The personal statement is the simplest of them all. You just have to approach it the right way. So start by an opening narrative, come back and then talk about your story, and after your story, something that happened that changed every single thing. So maybe one day your mother didn't give you money, and so because of that, you went to sleep. And then when you woke up in the middle of the night, you saw how hunger could motivate people to do, things. You went to steal from the pot, and then she caught you, and then you realize that, okay, so these are some of the things that happen when, like anything, like, but it should be linked to, it is your story. The person cannot tell you that you are wrong, or they cannot tell you that this is fake. It is your story that you are writing, but it should be chronological. It should make sense to whoever is on the receiving end. So after you've stated what happened and then what changed everything, the turning point or the pivotal statement, you come back to the values and then your motivation, what you learned after what happened, and then why it has pushed you to want to pursue this program. So you connect every single thing that you've said to the field. That is connection to the field, and then you write your concluding statement. It is very simple. This is very simple of the simplest of them all. So this one to the tone is reflective, specific, and grounded. So avoid using some of these things. Cliches, this is very important. Cliches, growing up, everybody is using all those things. You don't want to sound like them. And then I saw something here. Let me speak to it. Good. So over here, one thing that you see, you are talking about your life story. So one thing about the personal statement is that when you are ending, you should try as much as possible to say, not to say, it's not compulsory to say it, but it is important that you try to, the challenges that you faced, try to put something in your statement that sells you as somebody who is kind of empathetic. So you want to come back and give back to community. So you face these challenges, you've met these challenges, you went to hit, at a certain point, and then that point taught you a lesson, and then through the lesson, your life changed, and then you want to pursue this program. So in the end, what you learned, there are people who may also want to make those same mistakes that you made. So you should state something within your concluding statement or your concluding paragraph that tries to, sell you out as somebody who cares. So you want to use whatever you've learned, the experiences that you've learned, or even in the end, you want to build up something that would also try to educate people on some of the mistakes that you made, and then why they shouldn't make them, and then some of the challenges that will come when they make them. Like something simple, something very simple, like giving back to the community because you faced it, and then you do not want them to go through the same challenges. So that is basically the personal statement. Now let's come to the academic statement. But before then, if there are any questions too on the personal statement, you can let me know, please. If you prefer to, you can put it in the chat, and then I will attend to them. So, academic statement. So, the academic statement is your intellectual blueprint. What it is. So, it is a tightly focused account on your intellectual formation, research so far, current questions, and proposed agenda, plus why the program is the right venue. So you see, just as the name suggest academic statements. So you are diving deep into academia, talking about you are going to dig out you are going to dig up some of the things that you've actually done in academia. So it's talking about this is where you bring your I mean what you know. This is what you know, what you've learned. This is where you write a lot about your undergraduate studies or the programs that you've done, and then you relate it to the program that you want to you want to read currently, and then why the program is a good fit for you. So it is all simple. You talk about something and then you relate that thing to your program that you want to apply for, and then what you hope to get at the end of the day. So all of them, that is how it's like. For the SOP, you talk about your professional experiences or some academic or some experiences that have which may not be necessarily academic alone or professional alone, like experiences that you've gathered that have prepared you for the program that you want to pursue, and then why you want to pursue that program, and then what you intend to use that program or that degree for. The personal statement talks about the problems, the challenges, every single thing that you've gone through as a person, where you got stuck, and then you learned something from all those things that you've encountered, and then how those things have prepared you for the program you want to apply to, and then what you are going to use that program for. And then I've said that with this one, mostly you want to talk about giving back to community. It may not be the only thing you want to do, but you should introduce that element, a little element on giving back to the community. Then you come to academic. Academic talks about academic stuff, or let me say intellectual stuff, what you've studied, every single thing that you've read in your undergraduate studies. Most especially, it focuses on research. So the research this is where you are going to dive deep into the courses that you did, the explanation of the research that you did, and then try to link it to why you want to pursue the program, and then why that program is the right place for you to pursue that particular, agenda you hope to, get. So let's get into this one also. So this one too, the structure, that's how it goes. So you come up with your academic foundations. So example, coursework in program evaluation, casual inferences, and quantitative methods, which may have shaped your mixed methods orientation. That is something that you want to talk about. You may talk about your research or something. Then after that, you come to the research proper. You talk about, okay, so this is actually talking about my research that I did, okay, and then it is trying to use it. The AI tool is trying to use it to explain what it means, right? So in the research that I did over here, is saying that in my semester two, or let me say in my two semester project, what I did was I co-designed a survey, and then the Chromebook Alpha value of that survey or that research instrument was 0.86, and ran a difference in difference analysis on a peer mentoring rollout across two halls. So all these things gave me, the value of 0.42. So all these things are like you explain these in your, how do you call it? Your write up. Let them know that you know. This is where you put your knowledge on paper. Talk about every single thing that you've done. So you can talk about in the first paragraph, you still want to catch the attention of your reader. You state something. So you may quote a scholar who has said something. You may also want to quote a popular, I mean, a research quote, and then put it there, and then you add the inter citation. Then you continue with your motivation to want to read the program. Then you go to the next paragraph, you talk about your academic foundation, the programs that the courses that you read that have prepared you for the program. What are the things that you learned within the program? If possible, talk about some questions that you answered within the course, trying to, and study the course. What are some of the questions that you answered? Then in the next paragraph, you may want to talk about your research experiences. I'm sure everybody has some form of research experiences. You talk extensively about your research experience. most especially your chapter 3. This is where you use, if you are talking about research, it is mostly your chapter 1 and chapter 3 that talks about your research. That's the heart of your research. So this is where you talk about your chapter 3. You talk about your design, your research design, why you chose that design, and then how it turned out in the end. After that, you come to maybe your intellectual interests, and then your future research plans, proposed agenda, what you hope to do, and then why the program will help you do what you want to do in future. You conclude it, and then you are done. So basically, this one, the tone over here is analytic, it is precise, and then it's research driven. So avoid personal anecdotes. Over here, this is not the time for you to say you will face some challenges, you did some this, you did some that. So please take note. This is not where you reflect on personal anecdotal experiences and all that. So that is one of the things that you should, take notice of. So, finally, or let me say in conclusion, these are some of the things to reflect. So, mirror the prompt, okay? If a program's personal statement asks about research aims, answer answer as you would in your SOP. So what it's trying to say is that if they've labeled the writing or the write-up as personal statement, however, the content or the prompt or whatever point they are asking you to write about are directly related to SOP. Use the SOP format like we've discussed to write it. If it is talking about, if they've called it or they've labeled it as statement of intent, however, the rubrics, or let me say the prompt or the information they've given under the particular, statement for you to write about are all talking about academic statement, then that means you should use the academic, statement rubric to write it. If they are talking about, so you should note the differences. Reach out to the programs coordinators, ask them these questions. If you are on their virtual information sessions, ask them these questions. What are the things that they hope to see, or what are the things that constitute their SOP or their write-ups for, the program you want to apply to? Let them explain to you. If they explain that, they will give you some, it will fall between any of these. So if it's academic, you use this rubric to write. If it's personal statement, you use this, rubric to write. And then if it's an SOP too, you use this one to tackle it. So that is what you should do. And then if you are supposed to submit multiple essays, you should ensure you should ensure that, this is one of the things that, where is, I think Joseph, you asked that question the other time. When you are applying to UConn requires that you submit two separate essays, and then each one,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes, I think one of the essays is on SOP, the other is on, I think, academic or personal something. I forgot it, but you should check. So if they are asking for the two, you should that's what I'm saying over here, that you should duplicate it smartly. So that is what you do. If you are submitting multiple essays, ensure each advances a distinct angle: professional why, personal who, and then intellectual what. So these are the things that you need to know. The professional is why, it's talking about why. The personal is who you are, and then intellectual, what you know. These are the things that you should put in mind. So if they are asking about the why and then the who, you should know what you are supposed to write in the who, and then if they are asking about the why, you should know what you are supposed to write in the why. And then replace passion with a metric, result, or concrete action. One thing that I realize all the time is that people try to state that I have developed a strong passion for this program. I have developed. What shows that you've developed? Use something that you can measure, something that we can measure, something that actually shows that you have developed the interest. So with what we were talking about, the computer science something. So what shows that this person has interest? The person is motivated. How? The person's father had this issue, it affected him, and then because of that, he went to read this program. He did a research on that. So these are things that show that yes, this person is passionate about the program and wants to read it. So it is not merely stating that you have passion for the program that will let them accept you into the program. Show it on the paper. Like use a metric and then communicate your results or use concrete actions to, explain some of these things. If the prompt allows reference courses, right, centers or labs, like we've already talked about in your, why the program fits you area. So you want to talk about the courses that you want to learn or you hope to learn, why you want to learn those courses, and then some of the things that you aspire to gain from the courses. If there are some centers on campus, you may want to talk about them. If there are some laboratories too, you may want to talk about them, and then why they fit you. Don't just talk about why. Don't just mention that there is this laboratory there, you want to be there. Why do you want to be there? Why you want to be there should be linked to the problem you hope to solve. So basically, it is all about a problem you have identified and then how you want to solve the problem. So that is basically it. I have brought the SOP something, the writing something to an end. If you have any questions, you can ask so that um, we try and then answer them. The next thing on SOP writing, the final seminar will be a Q&A, session where we would have uh, our friends here. You come up, so go and write your essays wherever you meet issues or struggles. Just write them down. We will have a session where you ask them. So it will basically be a Q&A session. You come and then ask questions on your writing samples, and then we answer them for you. Yes, please, I see somebody has a question. Priscilla, please, we can hear you now.
Hello,
Yeah, we can hear you.
thank you. I wanted, I applied to certain hall university, and by God's grace, I received admission. So now I'm applying for graduate assistantship. So whilst reading their criteria, I realized that they wanted me. There are several GA positions, and I've applied to some. Recently, I realized that I was supposed to have written personal statement for all those I applied for. I wanted to find out for the personal statement, am I supposed to write a generic one and post it as and when I'm applying for the GA, or I'm supposed to fine tune it? I I don't know, so that's why I raised my hand. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I think,
Mr. Seth, please,
yeah,
I want
boss.
to ask you a question, please. Is it a cover letter or a personal statement
She says a personal statement.
for the
Um,
Okay,
GA
so they
position?
asked for I didn't know they were requiring personal statement, so I posted my covering letter, I posted my resume together with my certificates. Then I went to ChatGPT and realized that they said for that university you are supposed to bring a covering letter, your resume, and your personal statement. So I went back to the school. So I was reading. So I noticed that I was supposed to have added personal statement. So
okay,
I'm
okay.
asking, it's supposed
I
to
think
be
I get,
generic.
I get, I get you now, Priscilla. With what I know, most of the schools, most of the GAs, or let me say the graduate assistantship roles, when you are applying for those roles, it is the department that puts your essay or whichever essay you wrote together with your resume. They transfer those information, they send them across those offices for you to interview for these roles. However, in cases where you are supposed to write a different resume and then attach a cover letter, what you do is that I don't think you are the one supposed to submit the personal statement. I'm sure when you were submitting the application for admission, you were asked to write a personal statement, right? If
Yes,
yes,
yes, I was.
if that's the case, I would advise that you don't rely solely on what ChatGPT said. I would advise that you connect with the programs coordinator, or if possible, a student in the program, right? And then ask them, this is the challenge you are facing, or even their international office. These people, that's what they are supposed to do. So when you reach out to them, you tell them that this is the challenge you are facing, and you want them to help you so that you are able to solve it, right? And I'm sure it will be done for you. They will give you the requirement how you are supposed to approach it, so that you actually solve it. I think that helps, right?
Oh, okay.
Um,
Well,
pl-
Yeah.
please, I want to ask, certain or don't they require transcript evaluation? Because I think I had application fee waiver from them, and they were like, you need, as an international student, you need to
Which
evaluate your
school was
transcript.
that?
So the school she mentioned. So I'm asking her whether she evaluated the transcript.
yes, I evaluated it from TEC,
The evaluation company.
second. Yes. So they
Okay.
evaluated. I forwarded my all my certificates from WASI to the current one I possess. So they did everything. They excluded the WASI. So every certificate I received or earned from the tertiary, they evaluated everything. They made it one. So they, I don't know, they pressed it and they made it one. So I got a one GPA.
Okay.
So
I
all
get
the
I guess what you are saying.
certificates.
That is how it's
Yeah,
done.
you
But
had WASI.
yeah, I was even going to speak to that. So I
So I
think
have several certificates from different universities.
okay. So
So I gave it to them.
the issue now is once you've been accepted, that means they reviewed your transcript. And if they reviewed your transcript and they didn't have an issue with you submitting the WASI inclusive, and I think that shouldn't be a problem. So for the assistantship, I would advise that you reach out to the program coordinator. Like, these people are there to help us. Reach out to the program coordinator, tell them your problem, like this is what you are facing. And if possible, if they cannot help you, they should direct you to the actual office, or the offices in charge of these things. If possible, they can connect you, request that they connect you with a student already in the program, so that the students, these are people who are in the program. They may even have the same assistantship, or similar assistantships which you want to, be in. So if you do that, I'm sure they would also get the opportunity to share their experiences with you, what worked for them, and then they may even help you to navigate the whole process. So I would advise that you do that.
Please, can I interrupt? School be willing to do that?
Please say again.
Would the school be willing to link me to a student?
Why not? Yeah, they will. The only thing is you just have to ask. Well, you cannot tell. In my case, let me just say, anytime I ask, I don't even ask. Anytime I write to the programs coordinator, they themselves direct me to the student. Maybe I don't know the content of the email you write, so you may want to draft it and then maybe you send it over for a review or something, and then maybe we may polish it so that it can actually connote the right idea or something, so that you'll be able to get some of these assistance. So yes, they will do that. They are willing to do that. The only thing is you should reach out to the right people, and then that's what we are trying to do right now. Is there a deadline you are supposed to meet?
But I'm told that for me to receive the F1 or something, it must be 3 months prior to um, going to school in on January 20th. So
That should be 30 days. If it's visa you are talking about, then that's 30 days. You are allowed to enter the US 30 days prior to the start of your program. That is 1 month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you
Oh,
let's do that one. Let's reach out to the admissions coordinator, or even if possible a professor within the department, and then ask them to link you up with a student in the program or a graduate assistant in the program, and then tell them this is what you are facing, right? This is a challenge, and then you want them to help you or assist you, and I'm sure they will do that.
okay. Because the assistant dean said uh, any enquiries I should contact her. So then I'll do that.
Sure. So please do that. Please do that. And then you ask whether you should write a generic something. I would advise that you tailor every single application to the requirements of that office. So it shouldn't be generic. Don't write just one. Okay, maybe there may be similar elements running through, but you should tailor each one specifically to the office that you are applying to. Right? Sure. I think
Okay.
that
Thank
that helps, right? You're welcome.
And please, which program is that?
you. Diplomacy and international relations.
Oh, okay. So you can reach out to the international office. They should have, graduate assistants there who may even be in the same program. So this shouldn't be a. I thought it was a program. Let's say the sciences related or something. For these um programs, I'm sure you'll get somebody to assist you real quick. So please draft the email and then send it over for review, and then let's see how best we can approach it.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, welcome. Please, are there any more questions? All right. If there are no, questions, I think okay.
Um,
Motivation letter, what do you
Mr.
think?
Set, what we spoke about yesterday. I don't know whether
All right, I'm
you said
coming.
yes.
I'm coming. Okay, so I see Joyce has a question here. She says, when an institution asks for a motivation letter, what do you think can be the structure for it? Joyce, are you here? Anoko. Joyce, are you here? Okay, Joyce is here. So Joyce, I would advise that you, like I was saying, you reach out for information, virtual information details. So let's say you want them to give you when they will go online for a virtual session like this one. And then when you're on the session, you ask them some of these questions. However, you can also approach it a different way. You may want to write an email directly to the program's coordinator or a student in the program. Like I'm saying, these people help a lot. And then ask how they got into the program, some of the requirements, what they wrote about. If the school hasn't already stated all these things on their website, if they've done that, if even if you email them, they'll just copy the link and then send it to you for you to go back and read. So first do your homework, make sure it's not on the website, they've not stated the details of the motivation letter. If that is not captured on their website, then it's fine to go ahead with what I'm saying. You reach out to the program's coordinator and then ask for specific information or guidance or rubrics you want. They want their students to follow when writing their motivation letters. If this person is not there, like I said for Praceless, you may also want to reach out to them to connect with a student in the program and then ask the student some of these questions. All right, I saw a hand up. Please, who was it? I didn't check. All right. If there are,
That was me.
oh, okay. Please, do you have any more questions?
I also wanted to find out the personal statement. Should it should they have something to do with the duties you'll be performing at the school?
Are you talking about the assistantship yours
Yes, the GA.
to?
Yes.
Yeah, you shouldn't talk specifically about the let's say they are telling you that when you come you'll be hosting virtual sessions like this, like we are doing. So let's say you saw it in the rules, right? That as part of the responsibilities, you'll be hosting virtual sessions. mind you, some of these things they give training for some of these things. So if they see that you are writing every single thing on their website, they will become suspicious. You want to make room for the opportunity that you are willing to learn. Okay, so you are a fast learner, you want to learn on the role. However, you want to state some points that you may have already done. I advise people not to write things they've not done. It has become an issue between some of us, between myself and some colleagues right now. So please write what you've done, okay? So let's say you did you as international, I don't know some of the rules that they will require of you, but let's say you may have some experiences, right, that you've done. So relate those experience.
Administrative officers,
Please say that again.
administrative officer, telephonist.
Good, good. So all
Uh,
these things you enumerate them in your resume. They shouldn't be specifically what the program requires you to do. Otherwise, they will begin to think that you just went to the program website to copy what they want you to do, and then you've just come to paste them, even though you may not have done that. So make room for things that you do not know. When these people find out that you are genuine and that you want to learn on the job, they actually appreciate it. One thing that somebody told me was I got the opportunity to ask somebody to review my SOP the first time, and then the person also was very close with a professor in the program in the department. So he sent my SOP to the professor, and then had the professor review the SOP on my behalf. So when the professor he sent me the comments of the professor, and then he said one of the key things in graduate school is being humble. He says, like, be humble. If everything you say is superfluous, like you are saying you know everything, then they will feel like there is no need for you to have the degree because you already know it. Why then should we give you the degree? You get it? They are training people who have aspirations, who want to learn it, and then you already know everything. So you are just coming to pick up a space, the space, and then do you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So you should be humble, even though you may know it, but tell them that this is your limitation, and then that is why you're applying to the program. You want to learn some more, okay? Yes. So write some of the things, tailor them to your experiences, what you've already done, and then make room for things that you do not know and then you wish to learn them. Okay, so I that is how best I think I can approach that. All right. So welcome. Like I was saying, it is something that has become an issue. Please, guys, people are saying that I am posting stuff on LinkedIn that people are uh, our people are sending fraudulent activities, and so they should limit how often they admit international no, that is not what I'm saying. What I posted on LinkedIn, the article I wrote on LinkedIn was actually for people who do not have some certificates, but they copy people with those certificates. They just pick the certificate, give it to ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT edits their names and then put their names there. So let's say I have the certificate, I just um put this I have the certificate. Let's say NS doesn't have it. NS will just download my certificate, give it to ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT will just edit the name and then put my name there, put his name there, impersonating me, or let me say, trying to say that he has that certificate, he has done that course, whereas he may not have done that. So when you do that, I was saying that it is dangerous. Even if you are done with your program 2 years, 3 years, even 20 years later, when these people find out, they will revoke all your degrees, and then it will be a very damaging, something for you. That is what I was just trying to say. And I was saying that people should limit the rate at which they embellish some of the things that they have just to put them on a more advantageous, position than their colleagues that they are applying with. That is exactly what I was saying. And then it is something that you shouldn't do. Just write what you did, explain it, and then make room for things that you do not know. If you try to like pose yourself, like put yourself out there, like you know everything, you've done this, you've done that, but you've not done them. One day they will find out, and then that will be the problem. So that is what I was talking about. So please let us take note of this, and then we do not have issues with anyone. So I'm just hoping some of these things will end. So Joseph, I was saying that Joseph was proposing something. So all those who are willing to apply, okay, for fall 2025, that is, if you think based on your financial status, your experience,
2026.
I'm talking about this year, those who are applying this year, most of the priority deadline is December 1. So by December 2025, if you think your financial muscle, your experiences, your transcript, your recommendations, everything is set, and then you want to put in an application, we will create another group, and then we will tackle all those people. Separately. We would have time for them before they submit their applications. We will do extensive, sessions on the recommendation, most especially because right now they are doing holistic review. It's not just your SOP and then your transcript. What people say about you too is very important. So we will approach that one too, and then we will learn how best we can tackle that one, and also how best we can get our people to apply before December 31st, or let me say December 1, December 1, so that next year by this time, most of us will have the opportunity to also be on this session, helping those who are willing to come or also now beginning their process. So if you know you are willing, please after the program, just send me a DM, send me a message in my DM that you are everything is ready, you want to put in an application, and then we will begin from there. So that said, I would like to end the session for today. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you some other time. Please let us all go and write our statement. We will have time to answer your questions. So write your statement so that maybe next week or the following week we would have our people on board. You ask whatever questions. If possible, they will review them real time like this. You put your statement there and then they will review it for you. So kindly go and do that, and then I'll see you some other time when I see you. If there are no questions, then I'm sure we can end the session for today. Joseph, have I
Thank you.
Makambi Bia na Majabi Wom.
Well, no.
All right.
That's it, baby.
All right. All right. See you all and stay safe. Bye.